The night was cold, the kind of biting chill that sank through my coat and into my bones. I had been riding in the passenger seat of Daniel's car for hours, the road stretching endlessly through the countryside. He drove fast, music blaring, tapping his fingers on the wheel like he was the king of the world. I sat quietly, clutching my handbag, trying not to notice how he hadn't spoken to me except to bark out a command or snap when I asked a question. This trip was supposed to be his gift to me. He told me we'd go see the town where I grew up, the places I hadn't visited in decades. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. When the gas light came on, he pulled into a lonely station off the highway. The place was barely lit, one flickering sign above the pump, the surrounding land swallowed in darkness. "Go grab me a drink," he said, tossing a crumpled bill into my lap like I was his servant. His grin had that cruel edge to it, the one I'd seen since he was a teenager. But I got out anyway, my knees stiff from the ride, my shoes crunching on gravel. Inside the station, the air smelled of old coffee and dust. I picked up a bottle of soda, stood in line behind a man buying cigarettes, and when I came out, Daniel's car was idling by the curb. I thought he was waiting. Instead, the moment I stepped off the curb, he leaned across the passenger seat, rolled down the window, and laughed. "You're too slow, old woman," he said, his eyes gleaming with something meaner than mischief. "Let's see how you get home." Then he hit the gas. I froze as the red taillight streaked into the dark, his laughter echoing behind him, fading with the roar of the engine. My hand went weak and the bottle slipped, shattering at my feet. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I was 73 years old, standing alone at a forgotten gas station in the middle of nowhere, abandoned by my own son like a piece of trash. The clerk inside glanced up as I staggered back in, but he didn't care. He shrugged when I asked if there was a payphone. "Doesn't work. Nobody stops here anymore," he muttered. I sank into a cracked plastic chair near the door, my body trembling, my heart pounding so hard it echoed in my ears. Outside, the neon sign buzzed, a hollow sound in the silence. My son's words replayed again and again. "Let's see how she gets home." I thought of the nights I carried him to bed when he was sick, the mornings I walked to work on swollen feet just to buy him school supplies, the sacrifices no one ever thanked me for. And this was what he thought of me. A joke, a burden, something to be thrown away in the night. But as I sat there shivering, something shifted inside me. The humiliation was sharp, cutting through my chest, but beneath it, a quiet fire started to burn. He thought I'd sit there helpless, waiting, humiliated. He thought I'd crumble into nothing. He thought he knew me. I looked up at the buzzing sign, at the empty road stretching into blackness, and whispered to myself, "Daniel, you just made the biggest mistake of your life." I sat in that cracked chair for what felt like hours, watching the neon sign stutter and die and come back again, buzzing like an angry insect. Each flicker carved the memory deeper, Daniel's face glowing in the dashboard light, his laugh cruel, his hand gripping the wheel as he sped off, leaving me behind like forgotten luggage. The clerk swept the floor lazily, never once looking at me again, as if I were invisible. That was the worst part, not the cold, not the ache in my knees, but the feeling of being erased. When midnight settled in, the gas station emptied. No cars, no travelers, just the hum of the cooler in the corner and the rattle of the door whenever the wind pushed against it. I could have cried. I wanted to, but I'd wasted enough tears on that boy already. Instead, I wrapped my scarf tighter, stood up slowly, and walked outside into the night air. The highway stretched in both directions, endless and black, only the occasional semi rumbling past. My shoes crunched on gravel as I stood there, staring at the road, wondering how far I'd make it on foot before my body gave out. But then, the sound of tires crackling over the gravel pulled me back. A pickup truck pulled into the station, paint faded, headlights dim. The driver leaned out. It was an older man with a kind face weathered by years, his eyes sharp but gentle. "Ma'am, you all right out here alone this late?" I hesitated, pride and fear choking me. Finally, I nodded. My son. He left me here. The words burned on my tongue. The man frowned, shutting off his engine, climbing out slowly as though careful not to spook me. Name's Hank, he said. Wouldn't be right to leave you sitting out here all night. Where do you need to go? I told him my address, though my voice shook with shame. He studied me for a moment, then tipped his cap. Hop in. I'll get you home safe. Something in his tone told me he meant it. The ride was quiet at first, the heater groaning against the cold. Hank didn't ask questions, didn't prod, just let me sit there in silence with my humiliation. But halfway down the highway, he said softly, I've got kids too. Never would I dream of doing to them, or my mama, what your boy just did. His words made my throat tighten. He didn't know me, but he could see the wound as clear as a scar. When we pulled into my driveway, the house was dark. Daniel's car wasn't there, and I doubted he'd be home anytime soon. Hank turned to me before I opened the door. You're stronger than you think. But men like your son, they don't stop until someone makes them. I froze at his words. He didn't mean anything more than comfort, but the thought sparked something in me. Daniel believed I'd always be his shadow, silent, obedient, forgiving. He had no idea what seeds he'd planted by leaving me in the dark that night. Inside the house, the silence pressed heavy, but my mind raced. I walked into the den where Charles's old desk sat, dusty but sturdy, untouched since his passing. I opened the drawers with trembling fingers until I found what I was looking for. A small box of keys, deeds, and one thin leather-bound book filled with notes Charles had written. He had always been careful, always planned for the future. And suddenly, I saw the path he had left me, one I'd never dared to use before. The humiliation of that gas station, the sting of Daniel's laughter, it hardened into something else, not tears, not despair, but resolve. I whispered into the stillness. You think I'm powerless, Daniel. You think I'm nothing. You've just given me every reason to prove you wrong. I closed the box, locked it again, and carried it upstairs to my room. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the shutters, but inside me something colder and sharper had taken root. Daniel didn't know it yet, but the night he left me at that gas station was the night I stopped being his victim. The next morning I woke before dawn, the echo of Daniel's laughter still clawing at my chest. I brewed a pot of coffee, black and bitter, and set the leather-bound book Charles had left me on the table. Inside were his meticulous notes, every account, every property, every instruction in case the boy ever strays. He must have known, even back then, what Daniel was capable of. I sat there for hours, rereading, feeling Charles's voice guiding me through the ink. By noon, Daniel came stumbling through the door, whistling like nothing had happened. His car keys jingled in his hand, his grin smug. Well, look at you, he said, tossing his coat onto the chair. Guess you managed to find your way home. Didn't think you'd make it. Maybe I should have left you further out. He laughed, pouring himself a drink from the cabinet. I didn't answer. I just watched him, my silence making him uneasy. He leaned against the counter, sipping his whiskey. Don't look at me like that, Mom. You'll forgive me. You always do. But forgiveness was no longer in me. That night at the gas station had drained the last drop of it. I pushed the book across the table. Do you know what this is? He frowned, flipping it open lazily. His eyes scanned the pages, confusion morphing into disbelief. What the hell is this? Deeds? Bank numbers? Accounts I've never seen? They were your father's safeguards, I said evenly. He knew one day you'd turn on me. He left everything in my control, not yours. His face reddened. So what? You think you can cut me out? You wouldn't survive without me. You can't even drive at night. I stood, my knees stiff, but my voice unshaking. You're right, Daniel. I can't drive at night, but I can sign my name, and I already did. His glass clattered against the counter as he set it down too hard. What did you do? I moved everything, the house, the accounts, even the car you drive. They're not yours to claim. As of this morning, you're nothing but a guest here. And guests who abandon their hosts at gas stations in the middle of the night. are no longer welcome." For the first time in years, his smirk faltered. "You're bluffing." I slid a document across the table, the lawyer's receipt, signed and stamped. His hands shook as he picked it up. "You can't do this to me." I leaned in, close enough that he could see the lines of age in my face, the fury in my eyes. "You already did it to yourself. Last night, when you drove off laughing, you buried whatever place you had left in my life." He staggered back, words caught in his throat. "So what now? You're throwing me out? You'll regret this, Mom. You need me." I walked to the front door, opened it wide, and let the cold winter air pour in. "No, Daniel, you need me. But you'll learn what it's like to be left standing in the dark, watching someone drive away. Now get out." He stood frozen, face pale, fists clenching at his sides. But in the end, he picked up his coat, muttered curses under his breath, and stormed out. The door slammed behind him, rattling the pictures on the wall. I closed it slowly, the silence afterward sweeter than any hymn. My legs trembled, but not from weakness, from release. For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of him. I walked back to the table, poured myself a cup of coffee, and sat down in the quiet house that was mine again. Daniel left me at a gas station laughing. Let's see how she gets home. He didn't expect that home would no longer be his. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.